This podcast is supported by MIDI Health. Are you in midlife, feeling dismissed, unheard, or just plain tired of the old healthcare system? You're not alone. For too long, women's serious midlife health issues have been trivialized, ignored, and met with a just deal with it attitude. Many of us have been made to feel ashamed or forgotten. In fact, even today, 75% of women seeking care for menopause and perimenopause issues are left entirely untreated. But here's the powerful truth. It's time for a change. It's time for MIDI. MIDI is not just a healthcare provider. It's a women's telehealth clinic, founded and supported by world-class leaders in women's health. What sets MIDI apart? We are the only women's telehealth brand covered by major insurance companies, making high-quality expert care accessible and affordable. Our clinicians provide one-on-one, face-to-face consultations where they truly listen to your unique needs. We offer a full range of holistic, data-driven solutions, from hormonal therapies and weight loss protocols to lifestyle coaching and preventative health guidance. This isn't one-size-fits-all care. This is care uniquely tailored for you. At MIDI, you will join our patients who feel seen, heard, and prioritized. You will find that our mission is clear: to help all women thrive in midlife, giving them access to the health care they deserve. Because we believe midlife isn't the middle at all. It is the beginning of your second act. Ready to feel your best and write your second act script? Visit joinmidi.com today to book your personalized insurance-covered virtual visit. That's joinmidi.com. MIDI, the care women deserve.
Emotionally unavailable.
Okay. Well, it's really good to meet you. I'm really excited. I just found out where you live. I was really expecting for you to not be from the States because, first of all, I'm almost positive I have heard of your Letters to the Universe book,
Yay.
which I'm sure isn't a surprise to you, but it's always a surprise to me whenever I'm like, hey, I've heard of that. Okay, cool. Because I don't know, like, you said you grew up in California, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, I mean, you were exposed to some woo-woo shit, I'm sure. And I
Yeah.
grew up in Oklahoma, so I wasn't. I was exposed to Southern Baptisthood. And all the woo-woo was very demonic, so
Yeah.
couldn't do any of that. So I would love to start with kind of your introduction to, I'm assuming you're a spiritual person if you're into manifestation. I know that some people aren't as deep into the woo as I am and are really into manifestation. So I could be making an incorrect assumption, but I would like to know how you kind of got into spirituality in general and just like any of the metaphysics stuff, whatever.
Yeah, great question. So I was actually raised Catholic, which I
Mm.
still do attend the occasional mass. I'm not like poop on religion, I'm so spiritual, blah, blah, blah. But I know that sometimes religion isn't a fan of psychic mediums, but I think that's just because they misunderstand. Now, where the story gets interesting is when I was in my teens, well, my whole life leading up to that, I was training to be a professional ballerina. When I got
Oh.
injured and that couldn't happen, I spiraled into a deep, dark, suicidal depression, and that's where my story really gets interesting. So, 3 years I suffered through depression. I've lost myself. I'm a shell of a human. I feel like God's punishing me. I don't know what the heck's going on. And I just said a prayer. I was like, okay, God, spirit team, whoever is assigned to me, whoever's out
Yeah.
there, like, send you girl some help. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to feel better and enjoy my life again. And so, when you ask, you do receive. And of course, what I received was a great shaman, a great therapist. I started learning just a lot about energy, manifesting your thoughts, your feelings, healing from depression, working through my anxiety. And I was putting all these spiritual and psychological tools to use, and they actually helped. And I was able to heal from depression, come out even more happy and aligned and resilient than I was before I got sick with the depression. And in that, I realized, wow, like everybody needs to have access to this information. Why is this not more readily available? Why are we
Yeah.
gatekeeping all the best stuff, right? So I kind of had a ping or like a calling to start sharing everything that was working for me.
Mhm.
And it was specifically in the form of books. Like, you are meant to be an author, write a shit ton of self-help books, just write all the books, reach as many people as you can through that medium. And so I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to be an author. So I started blogging so I could like build a platform first, just about everything that was working for me. And fast forward about 10 years later, it's blossomed into, international self-love retreats and working with clients and getting bigger book deals. And we're 4 or 5 books in the works now, plus, a couple online courses. And it's just expanded into this whole thing of helping people to live their best life through the tools that have helped me, which I'm very passionate about manifestation, because something that I learned when I was depressed was that if you're willing to take your own life, survival is not the most important thing. And I know that that's very controversial, especially during COVID. So I'm like, we gotta survive, we gotta survive. But it's like, if you don't even want to survive, how important really is it, right? It's like, to me, quality of life is the most important thing. And without quality
Mhm.
of life, without feeling empowered, without some sense of agency, like, what's really the point, right?
What
So
is the point?
that's
Exactly.
what I got really excited about. The inner control freak in me was like, oh my gosh, manifestation is the cheat code to life. I can just think my way to success, right? That's how it starts. You get
Yeah,
that little
yeah, yeah.
bug.
Oh, girl, I might be just a smidge past
Yeah,
that stage,
you
but
get
yeah,
the
yeah,
bug.
that resonates. That
And it's
resonates.
like a little bit, naively superficial. And you're like, yes, I'm going to use this to control freak the freak out of my life. It's going to be awesome. I'm going to manifest everything. So that's like where it started. And then, of course, over the years, it evolved into, oh, manifesting your best life, creating your own heaven on earth is such a journey of becoming and growing and expanding and just living an intentional life and knowing yourself and connecting with yourself. And so it just evolves into something even bigger and more fun and more juicy. So that's kind of how we got here.
Wow, that's a really good story.
Thanks.
Um, well, I mean, in a lot of ways, you're living my dream life, you know? I feel like a very similar call. Um, for a while, I was really more into writing, and then realized like so much of my personal use of writing was to stay smaller and to because I was afraid to use my voice. And
Yeah.
so starting a podcast was really the beginning of learning to actually have authentic communication, because I am a Gemini. And so I was really good at weaponizing communication.
Mm.
And it was really like I was manipulative. I was absolutely trying to craft perfectly precise sentences so that I could say whatever I wanted with plausible deniability. And I was somewhat aware of it then. More of the understanding has come in hindsight. But it's weird because I just feel less and less called to writing. Although there's been things recently that I'm like, maybe, but I'm like waiting to feel like an initiative, like I have a story to tell in
Yeah.
only that way. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Anyways, so okay. How does your Catholic family feel about what you do?
I mean, if you were to ask my grandma, I think she doesn't really know the full extent of what's going on, my abilities and stuff. Actually Catholic on both sides. So my dad's side is like the Italian immigration side. My mom's side is the Mexican immigration side. So kind of
Okay.
similar cultures, family,
Yeah.
food, Catholicism, whatever. Um, my dad's side of the family, when I first was like opened up to my mediumship abilities, which was in my mid-20s. I was like a late bloomer. Uh, I first was encouraged by other medium I know to connect with someone who I knew that had passed, not just like random ghosts or whatever. So I was like, okay, let me ask my grandpa if he'll like ring in for a call, hang out with me. So I interviewed him basically like psychically, like a medium would. And I got all these juicy downloads, and I was like, I don't even know if this is real, but I need to tell my aunt and his other kids the messages that he had for them. And they're going to
Oh,
think I'm crazy. They're going to just be like, what the freak is she talking about? She's gone overboard. She's lost it. But I remember calling my aunt specifically, who's the only daughter of 4 kids. And she was really close to him, and she was the one who was like most hurt by his passing. And I read her what I had channeled in my journal from him, and she immediately started crying. And I was like,
mm,
I don't think she would be crying if it was fake and if it was made up.
right, right,
So she was converted in that moment to a believer, right?
nice.
And, when I told my grandma messages that he had for her, she was like making jokes as she does, like, oh, how does it work? Like, you just call 1-800-HEAVEN and they pick up the phone. And I was like, honestly, kind of, yeah. Like, it's not that different.
Similar,
So,
yeah.
yeah, she would like joke about it. My Mexican grandma, I don't know, she's not super, like, she is a witch, okay? Undeniably, I come from a family of witches, but she would not say that. She wouldn't call herself
Yeah,
that. She's like, I'm a devout Catholic, I'll be going to church, but she's a witch,
yeah.
okay? My mom, also a witch. She would identify more as a witch. One time I caught her putting someone's picture in a jar in the freezer, and I was like, girl,
No!
you trying to tell me you some, like, not a witch and you're doing that? I was like, I don't
Your
think so.
freezer smells, Mom? Really? Really?
So
That's so
it's like,
great.
it's a little mix up of energies there. It's like,
Yeah, I was
I
just
definitely
curious.
feel like my majority of my DNA is Native Latin American. So I do feel in my ancestry like the magic and the mysticism and the witchery that's there for sure. And I'm sure there's some on the Italian European side too, don't get me wrong. But I feel most connected to that. So yeah, I'm not like, if you're religious, you can't be spiritual. I think there's room for both. I think that there's a lot of wisdom to be learned from the Bible. I also think that there's a lot of stuff that maybe got a little bit lost in the game of telephone when it was, translated into a
Yeah,
bunch of different languages, and English doesn't have as many words as there needs to be to explain some things, and maybe some things were taken too literal. But at the end of the day, like, yes, I've studied the Bible. Yes, I've also studied lots of other spiritual texts. I've
right,
read The Course
right.
in Miracles, which I also loved. I've read, Taoist stuff. I've read like all different types of stuff. And I just like to, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. But there's definitely
Yeah.
universal overarching principles that I feel like are definitely true, you know?
I agree. And I think for me, so I was raised very religious, lived in that world for a long time. Slowly over time, kind of just was like, I don't know about all that. And really have spent some time deconstructing. I'm still recovering from a lot of religious trauma. But when I found spirituality and started to really tap into oneness, to just all of the beauty in it, that's when I could then go back and appreciate from a distance
Yeah.
a lot of what the Bible was trying to, I don't know if the Bible was, but I'll say Jesus was
Right.
trying to convey. I actually think the Bible was written to oppress women, but that's me.
Well, there's
Um,
a lot of stories that were left out, they say. All the ones that would be, demonstrating the women doing their
right.
magical, mystical thing and them preaching the gospel, because Jesus actually asked women to be the preachers first and to go share his message. So, yeah, I mean, there's definitely some stuff that was left out, I would say,
A
for
lot,
sure.
yeah.
Mhm.
So I think for me, it really kind of softened me again. Like, and
Yeah.
that's such a journey through spirituality anyway, right? Like, just you can be so hard around the edges about a certain topic. And then when you realize, like, oh, there's something in me related to this topic that I need to forgive and quit judging and love and have compassion for. And then I can like hold that for another person or another experience or whatever. So I've really enjoyed that. But, okay, what was I going to ask you? You were talking about your personal intersection between psychology and spirituality in essence. And this
Yeah.
is something that's really near and dear to me because like as a therapist, I don't really work with anyone that's not at least a little open
Yeah.
to those concepts because I am not meant for you. Like, because
Yeah.
I teach everything I do through that intersection. Can you speak to your experience about why having both of those kind of at the same time even was really important for you personally?
Yeah, so I would consider myself as mystical and magical as I am. I'm very practical and I love to geek out about the science. And, psychology is very fascinating how the human mind works. So it's just another angle to explore healing, And I always think of science as like catching up to spiritual truths, where it's like we're trying to make sense of spiritual phenomenons, like we're trying to make sense of these the way that trauma impacts our brain. We're trying to make sense of how healing happens. We're putting it in textbooks. We're doing
Yeah.
studies. Like, that's cool. I'm not against that at all. So I think just different language also resonates with different people. I think the people that
Mm-hmm.
I speak to are sometimes slightly skeptical. They get turned off by it being too woo-woo and not
Yes.
practical enough.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's where the psychology really comes into play. Like, for example, I have a new book coming out, The Manifesting Fix. And yes, it's about manifesting. Yes, it's about achieving your goals. Yes, I talk about law of attraction, but I also point to some studies and some psychology and some habits and why they work and why you shouldn't do this and why you shouldn't do that. And, here's something that this scientist over here discovered that definitely supports, this theory. And so I just like both sides. I think it's fun. And yeah, that's my approach.
Yeah, I love that because you know, I'm trying to think of I'm guessing if I were to really put some thought to this, yeah, I would say I probably got psychology first, but at the same time not really because
Yeah.
I had spirituality a little bit before because I'd gotten really into astrology, and that was really like my gateway back into like some sort of belief system because when I understood my birth chart, I was like, well, shit. Okay, this is a blueprint. Like, I feel a little more control in
Yeah.
understanding, like, well, it took me believing that concept that we chose this experience. And a medium told me that. And the first time I heard that, I was pissed. I was super triggered by it
Yeah.
because at that point, I was like there to connect with my dead parents because it had been like 20 something years and I was like, are they proud of me? Like I was just struggling, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and then when he was like, we picked this experience, we specifically pick our parents. I was like, bitch, no, we don't. Like, what? So I was triggered, but
No,
I
we
did.
don't.
Yeah, I was like, no, we don't. So you need to shush. But I did go, you know what, Melissa, I'm noticing your reaction. It doesn't resonate. Okay, it doesn't resonate. That's fine. But let's like just keep it in the bag for a little bit. And then if ever we shall want to look at these items again, we will take it out of the bag. And it wasn't that long after that I was like, that's starting to feel a little more true for me. And so then I was
Yeah.
introduced to some stuff that, some shame work and just understanding my wounding so much better. So then the intersection of the two, I was like, oh my God, I don't know how I've lived my entire life without these things. And truly, like, if I didn't have the belief system now that we chose this experience, I wouldn't be here because like I just lost a kid a few months ago and
Mm.
I don't have to grapple with any of the bigger concepts about that. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, okay, I don't know why that was the thing. I don't know if it was an early exit. I don't know whatever, but I do know he had a purpose. He chose me. I chose him. You know what I mean? So like it helps me. I don't have to sit and go, why did some force unknown to me choose this pain for us as a family?
Yeah.
That to me I feel like would feel much worse versus okay, I don't have to understand all the whys. I just know that it is and it really empowers me honestly cuz my thought was, well, if I fucking signed up for this shit, then I'm going to make sure I get what I'm supposed to get because I'm not doing it again. I'm not coming
Word.
back for this part. Like the next life is not going to be this. So I am going to get what I'm supposed to get. Then I made the mistake of being like, I want to learn everything I'm supposed to learn in this life. And someone was like, baby, do you know what you're asking for? I was like, oh my God, you're right. Let me shut up. Let me
Too many
shut up.
lessons. Too many lessons.
Yes, I was like, no, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. It was a griefy moment. It was a griefy moment. Please, please. That's where I get really freaked out about manifesting sometimes. Cause like, I was a classic overthinker before.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so literally just in the last 6 weeks, I've had to, my new little motto is don't take yourself so seriously, because I've had to relinquish the idea that everything's my fault because of my brain. You know what I mean? Or,
Right. No,
that
that's a
one little thought
classic.
controls so much.
That's a classic trap. And I actually wrote about this in the Manifesting Fix because my goal with the book was like to address all the misconceptions that I've noticed. And I feel like you brought up a great one, which is I'm scared of my thoughts now that I know
Yes.
the power, right? Like, oh God, I'm scared. But truthfully, what I've noticed and what I know to be true now about energy is that better energy, lighter energy, more positive, more loving does move quicker and tend to materialize faster versus negative thoughts, overthinking, ruminating. A lot of
Mhm.
that is not going to materialize very quickly, if ever, right? So it's like, what's the quality of the thought? What's the vibration of the thought? That's
Yes.
going to make a difference in whether or not it's manifesting. And there's so many other like components at play. It's not just
Sure.
only your thoughts that you're manifesting from, right? So there's that too. But yeah, you can just rest easy knowing that it's okay to have a wrong thought here or
Yeah.
there. It's okay to feel bad. It's gonna be
Yes.
fine. You're not gonna
This
like
was a real
manifest a
thing for
bad life
me.
just from like
Yes.
processing your grief or something.
Oh my God, there for a minute, I mean, this didn't stay long. It was probably only the first week, but I was crying so hard, like, it's all my fault, because I worried about this happening because we lost him to an accidental overdose. So I worried about this happening from the time he was born. I mean, truly, like there was just something there that I just recognized in familiar patterns. And I was
Yeah.
like, I don't, we got to, I always said my biggest goal is to keep him off heroin. I didn't know that he would get into other opiates, but whatevs. So I was so afraid that it was my fault. And then slowly, I feel like I had to experience that fear though, and the grief,
Yeah.
and the weight of that to get to the baby, calm the hell down. Like, this isn't your fault. That's not how this works. Okay. Since you're willing to talk about misconceptions,
Yeah.
okay, like, I feel like I'm getting more and more in tuned with my ability to manifest. And it really has been for me the way I would explain it, probably not that different than you would explain it, but still, is just like it really is that energy work of,
Mhm.
I mean, kind of truly getting into the. I'm hesitating to say this because I'm like so nervous. You're gonna be like, you're all wrong because someone's done that before. And I know that you're not, but I just want to be honest about that. But it's been like, I kind of have gotten to this place of, I don't know how, but it will be. And then like
Yeah.
walk away from whatever it was because I'm so tired of being stressed about money, like I just don't want to live in
Word.
that place anymore. But then someone I know last week, just last Monday, said she's got these little stray, like outdoor cats, but she's been letting them in her house through the winter. And she was like, now we just need them to have babies. Swear to God, they had babies Thursday night. She didn't know they were pregnant. Did not know.
Well, she
And
probably
then
did know, and that's why she said that, but it was like subconscious.
yeah, exactly. And then something else, she's been just like delusional about planning a trip that she had no way to pay for. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden her fucking mom offered the money for the trip. Like, I'm like, damn it, I'm a little jealous because what the hell? But also like it kind of fueled my fire a little bit. Like, I was a
Yeah.
little
You're
jealous
like, I
because
should
I was
be
like,
more
"Fuck."
delusional. What am I
Yeah, I
doing?
was like, okay, so delusion is the key. I knew it.
Delusion is the key. I love that. Yeah. So this is an important conversation. I would say a little bit of Delulu is good. Is good. Too much Delulu, and you're gonna be just disconnected from yourself and reality. I think disconnecting from reality is different from accepting reality and using that as your jumping off point. So in manifesting, right, we set our intention. So that's like on the GPS, our destination. But when you use a GPS, it also needs to know your current location in order to route you where you want to go. So it's okay
Mhm.
to accept your current circumstances. It doesn't mean that you condone them or you are celebrating them or you want more of it. It's none of that. It's just making peace with the moment and jumping off from there, if that makes sense. The Delulu is great because what happens when you're doing that is you are temporarily suspending disbelief and you're just like in
Yeah.
a playful, energetic place. And from that, a lot of opportunities can come because you're not focused on, oh my gosh, how is it going to happen? How am I going to make it happen? Blah, blah, blah. How. It's like, girl, the how is not your job until it is. Okay. Like the how is going to be revealed to you in time, but you have to be open to receive that guidance and direction and messages from your spirit team, which will be delivered after you have, played a little bit in the fantasy world. And then you're like, okay, maybe I don't know how, maybe I don't know when. That's okay. I'm just going to hold the vision, have fun with that, enjoy the feelings of it, and see how I get guided to it. That's a very different energy than, desperation or needing to figure it out or hustling your way there. It's more of a fun, playful co-creation versus oh my God, it's all my responsibility.
Right. Well, I had started playing with this about like my downloads on the podcast. I was like, okay, I want to reach this goal, so I'm going to start like visualizing that number. Every time I go to open up to like upload a new episode, it says like what my downloads are or whatever. And I just kept visualizing that number and I got there very quick after I started that. But I wasn't like, I did suspend like a timeline. I had said I would like it to be by this time, but whatever.
Yeah.
So I felt like that went pretty well. But let me ask you this, just for clarity. I feel like I know the answer to this, but not getting wrapped up in the how,
Yeah.
is the importance of that because then you'll be resistant to ways of receiving that you didn't necessarily think of, and it's kind of like that old like parable about somebody drowning and asking God to save them, and first they had like a fisherman, so is it like, oh, I won't receive in a different way that I was expecting if I hold on too much to the how? And is it also because of that desperate energy that is created in trying to control the how? Is that kind of
It's
part of why
both.
that's important?
Yeah, I would say you answered the question with the question. It's both of those things. So when you're obsessed with the how, you're closing yourself off to possibility. Instead of being in an abundance mindset of there are so many ways this could happen, there's an infinite amount of ways it could play out, you're kind of locked into a fixed mindset of it's only this way or it's not going to happen. And if it doesn't happen this way, then what does that say about me if I can't make it happen this way? And then you just start spiraling into storyland, and that's never helpful.
Ooh, you're so right.
So it's like the how, I like to say, is none of your business until it is. And it's like you'll know how when you need to know how. Right now, you just need to know the vision, hold steady in the vision, take some action towards it that you feel like will get you results. Like you have to actually produce a podcast to get downloads. You have to actually share about it on social media to get downloads, right? So you're doing all that while you're holding the vision and staying open, because it's like if you're at the beach and you have sand in your hand, if you hold it so tight, you can't really have the capacity to hold it. It's just going to slip through your fingers. But if you cup your hands and you're like, I'm holding it, but I'm not squeezing it to death, it will stay. You can be full of that sand. And that sand representing magic, alignment, miracles, opportunities. Like we need to hold it, but not too tight. So it's like that fine line between, because here's where we get into like the letting go of attachment spiel, right? Like it's the most annoying manifesting advice of all time, because you're like, how am I supposed to not be attached to the things that I want? I want them. I am attached to getting them. It's like you don't have to pretend like you're not. Like I hate when people are like, oh yeah, I'm cool without the money, or I'm cool without the relationship. I'm like,
No, you're
bitch,
not.
it ain't cool. You're just lying to yourself. You're not tricking anyone. You're not tricking me. You're not tricking the universe. Like, girl.
Yeah, you can keep
Yeah,
lying to
right.
yourself if you want to, but you can't lie to me. Yeah, anyone who
Exactly.
says it doesn't matter is a fucking liar.
I'm like, Yes, it does matter to you.
You wouldn't be
So
trying to manifest if it didn't matter, sis.
right, exactly. So let's just be authentic and take on the motto that authenticity is the new black, okay? And authenticity actually helps you to be more open and aligned, just generally in life. So what I would say to people who are like trying to fake it and stuff is that,
I did have a period of trying to fake it.
yeah, I mean, that's what you're taught, right? It's like fake it till you make it, whatever. I detest that phrase. But anyway,
Me
so
too.
to manifest what you want, where was I going with this? I'm like all over the place. There's so many things I want to come through right now. Okay. So the important thing is that you're holding the how loosely. You're staying focused on the vision, but in an open way. It's like the difference between saying, I need to manifest the love of my life and it has to be my ex versus I'm ready to
Mhm.
meet the love of my life and I trust my life to bring me that correct person. If it is my ex and they're ready now and they come back and they're healed and we cannot be toxic anymore, cool. If it's someone new I've never met yet, also cool. Like, I just want to be happy. I'm staying in alignment with that vision. I'm holding those vibrations in my body. I'm visualizing that without the person. Or you're
Mhm.
visualizing the dream role without the company. Or you're visualizing the dream house without obsessing on that one listing on Zillow. It's like,
Yes.
be specific in the feeling that you want. Don't waver on that. But the specifics of who it comes to you through, what time it comes to you, how it unfolds is not your job. That's universal intelligence. That's God, however you want to think of it. You are a creator. You are not the creator. Okay? You are created in the image of the creator. Yes, you have creative abilities, you have agency, you have magic, you have power, but you don't control the whole universe. So
Yeah.
it's not your job to do every aspect of the manifesting. It's your job to hold the vision, do what you feel called to do when you feel called to do it, and one way or another, you will get there. And I wrote like so many tangents on this in the manifesting fix too. If you want to like read it in a slow it down, see it on paper form, because
Yeah.
it's important to not be so attached, but to stay steady in your true desire. You know, you don't have to let go of the desire, just let go of the nitpicky, like how, when, exactly what it's going to look like.
Yeah. Well, and I think whenever I first started on this little entrepreneurial journey, I was very fixed on how I wanted that to look. Um, and it's funny how much that's changed for the last, because I started this show at the end of April 2 years ago, and quit a job and started a private practice therapy, which has been much more fucking difficult than it should have been because there's so many people out there who need therapy. But it took me a while to get the energy to deal with any sort of insurance,
Yeah.
things like that. And I still don't a lot deal with insurance because it's just such a headache.
Yeah.
Um, and and to be very honest, it didn't feel like I was called to, like,
Yeah.
that this was a temporary stop in the middle of something. That's really how it's felt, so I didn't want to go get fully immersed in this practice that didn't feel fully it feels aligned for now. It doesn't feel aligned in my future, and so, I've struggled my way through it, and it's really pissed me off a few times, but I
That's
was
entrepreneurship
also
for you.
Yes, yes, because then I was
It'll
like,
piss you
"Okay,
off.
how much am I supposed to go do these little side hustles that exhaust me just for income?" Like, like, go,
Yeah.
what it's like to decide that. And then lately it really has been like, I mean, since we lost Jake, I do not have the energy to go do that. Cause before he died, I was making Uber Eats deliveries, just trying to, make a little extra money. And now I'm like, no, I'm going to lean in right here and just be like, don't know how, but that money going to be in my bank account when I need to pay that bill. Cause I do not have it to go give to Uber Eats. And right now that's the only extra way that I can figure out how to make extra money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I really have been, and so far it's working, so I'm good. But there is always that part of me. It's like, am I doing it right? Like, what am I doing wrong? And I think that so much of that is just related to that punishment versus reward aspect that a lot of us are grown like to believe in terms of even
Yeah.
a higher power. And so that's where I've really leaned into to the quit taking yourself so seriously. If I'm feeling the stress, I get into the energy of what it would feel like to not have to worry about how that bill is paid. And then I really do just kind of dismiss the whole thing. And that's the part I worry I'm doing a little too much, but there's nothing more I can do in that moment other than get my ass out the house and go do Uber Eats. Not going to do it. So, but then I'm also like, am I going to be punished for not doing enough? Like, am I not showing the universe I want this bad enough? Stuff like that all the time. So when you were talking about being in the peace of things, that really resonated because I'm like, I'd love to just be in the peace of it. I really would.
Girl, you are literally recovering from one of the most traumatic things that could ever happen to anyone. So I think you're allowed some time and space to not be a workaholic.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even call it workaholic though. Like I was literally just paying bills.
A
Like I
hustler.
have not, yeah, I mean, I have not like gotten anywhere near the income I used to make, and
Mhm.
I'm really tired of the struggle, to be
Yeah.
honest. So that's why I've just decided like no, there's got to be a belief somewhere. And so until I figure that out, I'm just going to suspend all of any like rationale around this and just keep going. It's somehow that money's gonna get there, and, I mean, for the last 6 weeks, it's been great, so we'll
I mean,
see.
it's a good experiment. I like
Yeah,
it.
I
I
mean
support it. If you're
well, thanks.
tired, that's when you got to ask your spirit team for help, you know? Like,
Yes.
help a girl out. I'm tired. Send opportunities, send resources, send things that I don't even know that exist,
Yeah, and
Um,
I hadn't even thought of it like that,
mhm.
honestly.
Gotta ask for
Yeah.
help.
I
Do it.
do need to be ooh,
Mhm.
well, I'm so good at that. No, I'm fine with it right
Aren't we
now.
all?
I really I'm like, "No, we gonna go as soon as we hang up, Imma be having a talk with all them, you know? Like, "Hey, guys, I forgot I was supposed to ask you for shit, so now
Well, because technically, like, they are just waiting, but they can't really do a lot unless you ask. They're not gonna, like, really interfere too much unless you're like, "Okay, green light, come into my life, help a sister out," you know?
So true. So true. Well, and as I've gotten much, much better about listening to my intuition, I have felt really comfortable in each step that I take recently. Like just very solid in it and not questioning because for a minute there, I don't know if you ever went through this when you were like first awakening and stuff, but where you're just like scouring all the information possible, and now I have TikTok where all these cool people I can just listen to all the time, and I've recently, like, scaled back on that because I was like, "They're not any smarter than you." Like, yes, you can learn some stuff, but, like,
Yeah,
quit depending on outside stuff to like get a full understanding of you because this is about you
yeah,
like it's nice to know principles and laws and whatever, but I was just getting a little too wrapped up in it because it makes me feel control when I can hear somebody else
right.
share and
And
whatever.
validation. Mhm.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. How did you kind of overcome that part for yourself?
Mm. Well, I will say I still have my moments of, self-doubt or questioning or being stubborn, even though I know what I'm feeling called to do, you know?
Yes.
And recently, I just finished writing the manifesting fix like, I don't know, a month or two ago. I still feel brain dead from it. Towards the end of it, I was so overthinking every little edit, every little thing. Since the beginning of writing it, I had a feeling that this would be like a bigger book of mine, like maybe a breakout book. Like I could sense the power that would like help a lot of people. And as much as that excited me, it also scared me because I was like, oh my gosh, with my other books, I was just a nobody putting that shit out there. I was like, whatever, I didn't care.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, oh, people are actually going to read this and apply what I say and like change their lives, hopefully for the better because of my advice. So, girl, I was
The
overthinking it.
pressure.
It was a lot of
Yes.
pressure that I put on myself, which in some moments did kind of make me feel stuck creatively, but in other moments I just leaned in and I was like reminding myself, if it was easy, everyone would do it. If it was easy, everyone would do it. If it was easy, everyone would do it, to hype myself up. And my husband,
Yeah.
he's an ex-professional athlete, so he has a lot of mindset tools at his disposal. Athletes do so much mindset work, so much. Anyone who's the best at whatever they do has done so much mental work on themselves just to get to that level, right? So he sometimes coaches me through my moments of insecurity for sure. And when I'm working on big creative projects like that, I do like to stay away from other opinions, noise, consumption. I don't
Yes.
even read other books because I try to be like a very clear channel for what message wants to come through me in my unique voice and perspective. So I don't know if that answers your question, but just trying to relate to what you said earlier because I'd be feeling
Yeah.
that way too.
Yeah, which really does help me because I guess this is just gonna stay forever where I'm constantly having to be reminded that there isn't a single person who doesn't go through the exact same stuff I go through. Like,
Yeah,
we all get
literally.
insecure, we all suffer from imposter syndrome here and there. Like, all the things is not unique to me. It is actually part of the human experience at any level of growth.
Exactly. And especially if you're doing anything worth doing or pursuing any dream that's worth pursuing, like you're gonna come up against yourself. You are going to experience growing pains. You are going to experience blockages, limiting beliefs, questioning yourself, feeling insecure. Like that's a part of the creative process. That's a part of the up leveling. It's not even that something's wrong. It's like literally an initiation that has to happen in order for the
Yeah.
growth on the other side. So yeah, I think it's beautifully stated the way you said that. It's just a normal part of the human experience. So like not demonizing it is good because at the end of the day, you are a
Yeah.
human. So let's embrace our human experience and our humanity. I think from a spiritual lens, we make things so like, oh, we're just living in a matrix and everything is fake and this was all,
Yes.
we chose all these things before we came into this body, and we get too spiritual with it and we forget that the whole point of coming here into the 3D, into a body, into a human experience was to have a human experience. And that's the most spiritual thing you can do. You were a spirit and you said, I want to be a person. Okay, I want to be on earth at this time during all this
Mhm.
crazy stuff with all my
Yeah.
family, reincarnate with all my soul tribe, do all this stuff. I wanted to be a human, and now we're humans, and we're like, I don't want to be a human. It's crazy here. I don't like all these
It's
feelings. It's a roller coaster. What is politics? Why is there still always war? It's like, I don't want to do this anymore. But it's like,
This is
bitch,
bunk.
you did want to do this.
Exactly. Yes, that is seriously that's all a part of my little mantra recently.
Yeah.
And one of the things that has really helped me the very most about because I talk about this a lot about like, and I almost think this is so common where once you have a spiritual awakening and you get those moments of like pure bliss that you
Yeah.
really cannot get any other way. I don't care what anyone says, you chase that a little bit, and
Yeah.
especially like when you have your entire paradigm shifted in just one epiphany, it's such a good feeling. But because of that, I think there's been several different phases and it's looked a little different in each phase, but where I was like, oh, I'm supposed to be perpetually unbothered because a good spiritual person, okay, a person following all the rules and doing the things right, they are unbothered. I've literally had to give myself permission to be human first. And that's my very first thought. I've wired my brain to be like, no, you're allowed to because that's human.
Yeah.
Every time something stupid hurts my feelings, every time I feel a little disconnected from people because I would put it I would say I love attention, but really I love connecting with other
Right.
people. And, I'm still working through like, oh, I need to connect with myself right now. Like, because I spent a long time in some really shit narratives around the connection piece. And
Yeah.
now it's just, reinforcing the things that I know to be true. But when my feelings get hurt, I no longer just dismiss that and minimalize it and trivialize it. I'm like, no, you're allowed. And just that, like, letting go of the resistance that I was having for so long, every single time that would come up, it fucking goes away so fast now because I allowed it to happen. So that's been super helpful for me with all of the stuff, is just to be like, is that what human beings do? Okay, then you're doing great. You're
Yep, good
doing
job,
great.
A plus. Yes, I love that approach. That's definitely a great way to think about it. And I would love to help you almost like maybe reframe what you said earlier of like, the most spiritually enlightened people or whatever are unbothered. And I think we could maybe rebrand it as like those people, yeah, maybe sure there are some people who are genuinely just completely 100% unbothered, but I think it's more not that they don't get triggered, but I think it's that they're resilient. And I think
Mhm.
the resilience is something more to aspire to and latch onto than unbotheredness. Because truthfully, as humans in a human experience, we are going to get triggered. We are
Mhm.
going to have reactions. We are going to have feelings about things, and they're not always going to be good. But if you can always come back to yourself, if you can always come
Yeah.
back to a baseline of security, knowingness, peace, harmony, coming back to that is the impressive part. Being completely unbothered, meditating under a tree with no humans around, to me is not impressive. It's very easy to get in alignment when you're not in relationships with other people. If
Right.
you can
Yes.
have inner peace at the Thanksgiving table when you're with your crazy
Girl.
uncle and your parents that have
Exactly.
way different political opinions than you and your crazy cousin and everyone's just triggering the fuck out of everyone and you can
Yeah.
just be like, this is the human experience. And maybe you do get a little flustered in moments, but then you come back to yourself, come back to your peace. I think that's a lot more impressive, to be honest.
Yeah, because guess what? In a lot of cases, I can be there, but there's a couple that I can't, and I have beat the shit out of myself over that.
Yeah,
Like, that was one of the things I had to be like, "You just don't like them." Like, they irritate your spirit, they trigger the hell out of you. You work through so many triggers, it's fine that you've put so much distance between you and them because I I don't wanna fight the good fight anymore with that particular relationship,
word.
and I'm done. I just don't want to, but I was shaming the hell out of myself about it
Yeah.
for a minute, like, well, good spiritual folk, they'd work through that, and I just don't want to. I just don't want to, and so I always say I put it out there like, "And if that is supposed to be on this path for me, it shall be." But
Yeah.
for now, I'm not seeking out the opportunities to repair that when I wasn't the fucking person to break it. So I'm gonna
Takes
just
two
be
to
in my
tango.
lane. Yes. So, okay. Well, that makes me feel better because, I mean,
Good.
anytime we can talk about how like it's perfect to be imperfect, I'm all for that.
I mean, that's the whole thing. Like, the point is not to be perfect. The point is to like enjoy the ride, and it's going to be a crazy one, you know?
Ugh. Yes. Yes.
And it's not
So,
even just
okay.
only enjoyment. I would say it's to feel. Like, to be human
Yes.
is to feel like the full range
To
of
get
human
the
emotion.
full range of emotions.
Yeah, like,
Yes.
something I noticed when I was depressed was that it stretched my capacity for feelings in both directions. So, like, how
Really?
dark I got and depressed I got, on the other side of it, I was actually able to feel even better and more light and
Yes.
more unconditional love. So it, like, stretched me in both directions, and now I just have bigger capacity because of what I went through, which I think now is a beautiful thing. Would I want to go through what I went through again? No. Would I wish that on
Right.
my worst enemy? No. But in a way, in hindsight, now I can be grateful for how it stretched me and gave me the compassion for other people who are struggling and to want to help them not go through unnecessary suffering.
Yes, yeah, and I do think that suffering overall is unnecessary, and it took me a minute, and I love the way you're framing that because I absolutely came to that place myself because this whole thing started when I came out of a mental health crisis a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
and I remember the moment I was, like, profoundly grateful for how dark it had gotten because you only get the same ratio of light to dark,
Yep.
I believe.
Yeah.
So before it hadn't been as dark and I didn't see that much light, but having experienced that much dark, oh, the light is so bright. Like that's the only reason I'm able to get through child loss is because these were all things that I learned prior to, which I'm profoundly grateful for. And I felt weird at first, even being so out there with being like, no, I'm grateful for me. I really am. Because if I hadn't put in all the work right then, I'd be the reason I destroyed what's left of my family. I mean, I'm the barometer in this family. Everybody kind
Yeah.
of follows in line with I set the tone, and how you grieve is really important and really can set you up for some real shit down the line if you get into some really unhealthy patterns. And so being able to model healthy grief as best as I can in an imperfect way is important to me. And I'm proud of it. I'm proud that I'm able to. I'm proud that I know myself well enough to know what lights me up to continue doing the show because it lights me up so much. People ask like how I can continue to do this. And I'm like, cause what do you mean? This is everything to me. This is my lifeline, getting to have awesome conversations, connecting on a soul level with people. Yeah, I'll take more of that, please. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful because you can't see any of this when you're stuck in
Yeah.
that really yucky place.
Yeah, because I think the biggest lie of being in that deep, dark place that your brain plays tricks on you is that it's going to last forever.
Yes.
And that's what causes people to commit suicide. And that's what causes people to just do other self-harming things. It's like, yeah, of course, if you believe it's never going to end, you would want to end it yourself because it's so intolerable. That makes sense, But it's so hard when you're in it to not fall for the lie, It's so
Absolutely.
compelling. It's so easy to grab onto that this is going to be the rest of my life when it really doesn't have to be.
Yeah, because if I hadn't really gotten, it's not like I'd never heard of astrology at that point, but if I hadn't really gotten some better understandings of it at that time, nothing else could have made me believe that there would be an end to the bullshit.
Yeah.
But like literally just hearing, oh, this is just a transit. Like, oh, okay, well, shit, I can hold on tight. Like that really helped me. So
Nothing lasts
I think
forever.
whatever you need,
Yeah.
whatever you need to believe that it's nothing lasts forever. So you can hold on for a little bit longer. I think whatever gets you there, you just hold on because there is always better just around the corner.
Change is inevitable, right? I like the saying death and taxes, but I would add change in there. Like you're always going to have death, taxes,
Yeah.
and change. Like things can change so fast. Things are always changing. I mean, just look at nature. It doesn't stay stagnant. There's 4 different seasons, and within those seasons, there's different times and things going on. And like we forget that we're a part of nature too. So of course we're always changing and growing and evolving and it's again, part of being a person.
Oh, you're so right. Man, I've loved having this conversation with you. Tell us where we can find you and what you're doing.
Yeah, so everyone can pre-order my new book, The Manifesting Fix, where I'll give you more permission to be more human and help you to realize that there's nothing wrong with you. Just we need to fine-tune your approach a little bit to your dreams and your goals and help you get unstuck. So if you're ready to get unstuck, align with your goals and dreams, pre-order The Manifesting Fix. I'll send you the link so you can put that in the show notes. But other than that, you can find me at KelseyAida.com. You can listen to my podcast, High Vibe in It. I think I'm going to start another podcast where I'm reading my Substack articles because I love communicating through writing, but I think with the voice combined with the writing is like something special there for me. So stay tuned for that. I would say follow me on Instagram or TikTok or anywhere. I'm Kelsey Aida. I'm also on Substack as Kelsey Aida. And I just say, read the book, use me as a resource. I channeled it with lots of love. And that's what I got.
Well, I'm excited. I'm gonna pre-order, and I'm gonna. Don't be surprised when you see all these follow, on all your socials after we hang up. 'Cause
Yes,
be
I will be
there.
excited to
I'm actually
connect
not
on
gonna be
social.
surprised if I'm already following you on TikTok or something because you
That would be
seem very
awesome.
familiar. But we'll find out because I'm gonna be following you if I'm not already.
That's right. I'll follow you back, girl.
Yay! I'm gonna press stop if you'll hang out for just a sec. Thanks for coming to Emotionally Unavailable. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, and share. Emotionally Unavailable. All right, that's it from me. So make sure that you check out the show notes for links. And until next time, let's all just keep swimming.
INDEPE and cut.